Hey you guys, it's Traveling Monkey here. So today I'm going to be taking you guys to the Craig Myles Mausoleum and the church and their old house. I'll put the story behind it in the description box below, just because it's too long to really tell you guys about it. I'd just be rambling on for about an hour or so. So if you guys want to read on it, definitely do so. Great story. It'd be worth it in the end. Other than that, I do have a surprise for you guys today. So I'm taking Legacy somewhere. She has no idea where she's going. And yeah, hope everybody's having a wonderful day, and I will be seeing you guys later. Okay, you guys, so we just got here. This is the old Craig Myles house. It's now half library, other half not quite sure yet. But so let's go in. Okay, you guys, so this nice lady here is going to explain who this is to me today. Caroline Florence Vance Craig Myles. It's a long name, isn't it?
Yes. The house was built in 1866 by this lady's husband, Pleasant Craig Myles.
Oh.
It is actually the second house that was built for Caroline. The first house that was built for her is currently known as the Carmichael House. It's located on the south end of the main branch of the library across the street. It is a beautiful house. It is very nice on the inside, but Caroline preferred something larger and grander. So Pleasant came down just about a block and built this house in 1866. The original property boundaries of this house were 8th Street to the south, to the west, Harle Avenue, and to the north, Centenary Avenue.
Wow.
This wing that we're standing in was not part of the original footprint of the house. It was added in 1969. This beautiful lady, this is Clyde Hardwick, she gave the money for this wing to be built. She donated $30,000
Wow.
to the library for this house to be built. She is the granddaughter of Sarah Tucker Johnston, who is how we get the house. This is the original dining room of the house.
Wow.
It was originally a rectangular shape. Walter Scott Mill moves in the house in 1907. One of the things that he does is he installs a bathroom in this corner, and he puts in a fireplace in that corner. He adds the plate rails to offset the divots in the walls now. Mr. Mill is out here on the wall.
The molding is actually, is that the original molding?
That is the original molding.
Wow. Look at this, you guys. Let me just get a shot of that up there.
That is also the original ceiling rose.
Wow.
It's one of the few that we still have in the house.
Original fireplace, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm. There are 17 fireplaces in the house.
17 fireplaces, you guys. Did you hear that?
All
wow.
of the fireplaces on the first floor are Carrara marble.
Wow.
None of the fireplaces on the second floor are. They're wooden. The doors that you came through, and these doors, they are original doors, and that is the original leaded glass. It is 152 years old.
152
Yes,
years
the house was
old.
built in 1866.
So the doors and the glass is that old?
That is that old. Yes,
Wow, that is crazy.
This is Mr. Mill, right here to your right. That is Walter Scott Mill. He comes here from Sterling Falls, Ontario, with his father and his brother to build a furniture factory. He has 5 daughters.
Wow.
He is crazy about the daughters. He actually walks around with a pet squirrel in his pocket to entertain his daughters. At one point, the daughters want to go to Europe for the summer. He doesn't want them to go. So he builds the first tennis court and the first swimming pool in Cleveland for his daughters to keep them entertained here.
Wow.
He is the first car owner in Cleveland, and he also buys one for his wife. I like Mr. Mill very much.
Wow.
The floors are original. They are hard pine floors. You can see where the floor has been patched here. This is where the fireplace was located.
Ah.
The house was put on the National Register of Historic Places in 1972. The fireplace was covered over because it was not in the original footprint of the house. Another change that's in the house is there was a wall right here. There was a doorway right here, and there was a doorway right here. There are some photographs in this cabinet that show some of the original architecture that's been removed, namely this wall. You can see it in this photograph. This is Ida Steed. Ida is...
This lady here?
Ida is a daughter of Sarah, who's over the fireplace over there. Sarah is how we get the house, and we'll talk about that in a second. You can see some of the architectural features in this room in that photograph that we no longer have. Some of the ceiling work is missing. All of this trim work is original. The light fixtures are not original. The ceiling roses on the east and the west side of the house are original. The centerpiece is not.
Wow.
The original piece fell and was replaced with this one. Okay. So this is Sarah Tucker Johnston, and the chair in the photograph is the chair right there to your left. In the photograph, it is covered in
This
leather.
one?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
it has
wow.
been reupholstered. Ida is living in the house with her husband, John Steed.
So this
John's
is
father
original.
was a brick mason who actually made the bricks for the house. John always loved the house and told his father at some point he would live in the house, and he does. Unfortunately, he dies in an epidemic.
Wow.
Ida is not that crazy about living in the house and sells the house to her brothers. The brothers try several things with the house, none of which turn out to be very successful. Sarah dies in 1922, and James Francis Johnston, who is over this fireplace, convinced his brothers to donate the house to the city of Cleveland to be used as a public library. It opens in 1923. The Johnstons donate 4,000 books to the library, equipment, furnishings, and some money. They're very generous, and that's how Cleveland got its first public library. The sunroom is original to the house. The Mills, for example, grew oranges out there, and they refer to it as the orangery. In the photograph with Ida, they have big, heavy drapes over these windows, and you would never guess that it's out there.
Over these, so the windows actually come all the way down.
They do come all the way
Wow,
down.
standing right there, Legacy. So these windows, you guys, actually pull all the way down.
They
That
do.
is crazy. I have never seen nothing like that.
Isn't that amazing? We have them supported now. We use it as a pass-through.
Wow.
It makes for good traffic flow.
And this is the sunroom. I don't know why they call it a sunroom. It's really bright in here.
Innovative. It's over 4,000 square feet. Originally, there were 5 bedrooms, all on the second floor, and 1 bathroom. The house did have primitive plumbing in it when it was built. Mr. Milne upgrades the plumbing. He also brings electricity into the house.
Wow.
We just finished a major renovation on the second floor this past fall. You can see in some of the photographs the amount of damage and the amount of work that was done upstairs. This is the original not tongue and groove, but knob and tube electrical wiring. You can also see it in this photograph, and that is an original gas line right there.
Whoa.
The house was originally lit with gas. It was heated with wood until about 1880. Pleasant has died by that time, and now his daughter, Augusta, is living here in the house with her mother and her family. And she brings radiators, steam radiators into the house. We still have a couple of them in the basement in the cellar.
Wow.
She also has coal inserts put into the fireplaces.
Wow.
It's a little bit more efficient type of heat.
Yeah.
The staircase, all of this woodwork, this is all original.
Wow.
This newel post is hand carved. During the construction process, this newel post was taken apart, the top was taken off, and I actually was able to put my hand down in it. This is hollow. It was a surreal moment when I put my hand down in there.
Wow.
You can see the original chisel marks underneath this brass medallion. You can see the chisel marks under there. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
During the renovation, the stairs were painted. The horizontal pieces were refinished to match the floors upstairs. The music room, this is the music room. This is my favorite
Wow.
room in the house. This wallpaper on the walls is original to 1866.
Whoa. Are you serious?
Yes.
I've got to touch it. I've got to.
It feels kind of rough to the touch.
It looks like velvet.
It
Oh
is.
wow, it's not. Oh wow, yeah, it is
Originally
rough.
It was, but you have to remember it's very old,
It's really.
so it does feel a little scratchy.
Wow,
I
that's
would be-
wallpaper.
That's wallpaper. I would be scratchy too if I were that old.
Wow.
You can see there's some damage here. You can see the original plaster walls under the wallpaper.
Oh, okay.
We do have some damage. It does need some conservation work. If you look straight up over this bookcase, you can see just a very small, little bright, shiny little piece. That is gold. What's the word I'm looking for? Not gold flat, gold
Leaf?
Thank you.
Gold leaf.
It is gold leaf.
Oh, wow.
Originally, it was on all of the trim. When Mr. Mill moves in the house there in 1907, apparently it's wintertime. We have a letter from his brother John, who talks about being in the house, and the house is warmed up too quickly, and the gold leaf starts coming off.
Oh.
That's the only piece we have left.
Wow.
The lady over the fireplace, this is Myra Adelia Craig Myles Cross. She is married to John Craig Myles, who is a brother to Pleasant. Myra and her family never lived in the house. John lives in the house very, very briefly. If you are from Cleveland, you may be familiar with the story of Nina Craig Myles.
Yes.
This is Nina's mother.
Okay, so, because I'm going to be going to the Mausoleum next, so that would be awesome if you could tell us that story
Sure.
too. So this is Nina's mother.
Nina's mother,
Wow.
Myra Adelia Craig Myles Cross. Nina never lives in the house. There are
Oh,
a lot of
really?
stories. Yes, there are a lot of stories that float around.
See, and I heard that she had lived here too,
Yes.
so that's good that we're talking
No.
to you today.
No, Nina never lived in the house. Nina's grandmother never lived in the house. One of the more popular stories is that Nina's grandmother was up in the tower and was crying and carrying on. No.
Okay.
We're very fortunate to have a tower. The house is Italianate in design, and only about 15% of Italianate style houses have a tower. We're lucky to have it. But Nina's grandmother never hung out of it crying and carrying on. John lived in the house very briefly. The family story is not a particularly happy one. Nina is in a buggy with her grandfather, Dr. Gideon Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
He was very, very fond of Nina. He would take her.
Just push that little red button, Legacy.
He would take her buggy riding. He would take her when he would go to call on patients. They were very close. There is an accident down about where the railroad overpass is on Inman Street.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask you next, is what railroad it was.
Yeah, the overpass is relatively modern, but that's always been a railroad crossing. And in that area, there is an accident. Nina is killed. Dr. Thompson survives. In memory of Nina, the family donates the property where St. Luke's Church is built. And they help with the building of the church. Because Nina is killed on St. Luke's Day, that's how the church got its name. The mausoleum is constructed for Nina. There is a beautiful sarcophagus in there where Nina is entombed. It is quite lovely. It is also Carrara marble, the same that these fireplaces are made
So
out of.
she is buried in the mausoleum.
She is entombed there, yes. It is about the size of this sofa. There is a large swath of what looks like cloth swirled around the top, but it's not cloth, it's white marble.
Oh, wow.
Then a white marble crown, and then a cross made out of white marble laying across the crown. It is very beautiful.
Is there anybody else that's buried inside there?
Yes. The next thing that happens to the family is Myra has another child, a little boy.
Mm-hmm.
He lives about 8 hours, and he is never named. He's the next one to go in.
No, do you know why he died or why he passed?
We don't know. He was an infant.
Okay.
The next thing that happens is Myra's husband is walking down the sidewalk.
That's Nina's dad.
Yes, this would be Nina's dad. Slips and falls, breaks his arm, blood poisoning sets in, and then he dies. Myra remarries.
Crazy.
Yes, Myra remarries a gentleman named Cross. Has this beautiful portrait done. She is out with neighbors, calling on other neighbors, as ladies are wont to do, and for whatever reason decides to cross the street and is hit by a 19-year-old kid driving a car and dies as a result of her injuries. She's the next one to go in. Mr. Cross goes on and lives a natural lifespan, and then he is entombed also in the mausoleum.
Wow.
The mausoleum is open one day a year. It is open on Easter Sunday. It is very beautiful.
Where you can actually go inside.
You can actually go
wow,
inside.
I never knew that.
On Easter Sunday, and if you look up, there's a beautiful stained glass window in the very top. Most people don't think to look up there. They just don't.
Wow.
But there's a large tree that has kind of grown over the top, and it's shaded. But I think when the sun came through that window, it must have been incredibly beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
With all the white marble and
right. Now, is there any reason why the marble? I mean, I've heard several stories like of the red stuff that's on the marble.
It's the limestone in the marble.
It's the limestone.
It's a natural process where the limestone leaches out.
Turned red.
Through the marble. It's a natural process.
It's actually really beautiful.
It is very beautiful.
Yeah.
It is not blood. It
yeah,
is not
so many stories that the Mausoleum is bleeding and all these stories. But
it's a natural stone
so
process.
for all you guys out there that watch this video and think that this Mausoleum is bleeding, we have proof that it's not.
It's not. And a lot of people think this house is haunted. The house is not haunted.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time here. The house is
so
not
you would
haunted.
know firsthand if it was haunted or
I
not.
would know firsthand. When the construction crew was here working, they were, always asking me, is anybody here? Is the house haunted? No. It is an amazing house. When you consider the age of the house, it is even more amazing that only 4 families actually lived in the house.
That is
A house of that age. It has had a very interesting history. It has seen a lot of history go right past the front door. When everyone was here watching the eclipse, all I could think was we've come full circle.
Yeah.
Because the Milnes watched Halley's Comet from the roof of this building.
Wow.
And now we're all out here in the parking lot watching
doing the
this
same
eclipse.
thing.
It just was an amazing feeling.
Great.
When the house was built, the monument building right here, that was the city limits. So this house was technically built in the country.
A lot more trees than what there is now.
A lot more trees. I think the house was probably cold in the wintertime because of very high ceilings. Definitely. But I think it was probably comfortable in the summer because we have all these amazing windows.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of trees around the property. The tower provided excellent cross ventilation so that warm air rises. It's going to go right out that tower. I think it was probably a very comfortable place in the summertime, but it's a little chilly in the winter.
So amazing. Now, is there any other rooms down here besides this one?
What was originally the kitchen is now our archive. And when I was a kid, that was the children's section. You walked past these stairs and into the room that's the door's now blocked off. This hall is very scary when it's not lit up.
Really?
It used to scare the bejesus out of me when I was a kid. I watched Dark Shadows, which I was forbidden to do, but of course I watched it anyway. And when I was a little kid, I had this house confused with the house on Dark Shadows, and I thought that Barnabas Collins lived upstairs and was going to come and get me. But yes,
that'd make for a really good story. But
it does. But
we're glad you're okay.
Yes, that is one of the amazing things that happened with the renovation. There were can lights that were put in over the stairs. And now you can see our beautiful staircase all the better.
So why is that blocked up or blocked off?
That is where the Cleveland Bradley Education Foundation has their offices. So those are considered private offices. So it's not a public space.
Yeah.
We are going to be having a grand opening probably in April or May.
So I can come back and kind of video up there. Okay, awesome.
And walk through the stairs. You can go to our Facebook page, which is Cleveland Bradley County Library History Branch. But if you're on Facebook and you just do a search for History Branch, I believe it will come up. If you scroll through our feed back to October of 2017, I posted photographs of the finished upstairs before the tenants moved in. And you can see some of the beautiful work that's been done. If you go further back, you can see some of the construction photos and what it was like to live here.
I mean, honestly, this house is in amazing shape to be as old as it is.
It is in amazing shape. We're really happy that we still have the floors. It has some woes, but it is 152 years old.
152 years old, you guys. Just think about that for a minute.
The dust was unbelievable this past summer. They were tunneling in 150-year-old plaster. They worked very hard to try to control the dust. We had 2 dust curtains on the stairs, but dust is dust, and it will get you.
Do you know what the oldest house in Cleveland is?
I did, and because you've asked me that, it will not come to the front of my head right this minute.
And is it still standing?
Yes, it is.
Wow, it is.
Of course, the Hildebrand house, which is closer to Benton, it's much older than this house.
Really?
It is not eligible for placement on the National Register because the house was moved. It was moved across the street.
Wow.
Yes, and I have a photograph of the Hildebrand house on display back in the Hardwick Wing. And it is
Wow.
actually, the photograph itself is actually mounted on a door panel.
That
Came
is
out of the
crazy.
house.
That's awesome.
I don't know how it migrated into our
Yeah.
collection, but it did.
But you got it.
It's a cool piece. And
Now, what's in the cabinets?
the history branch started when the main branch was built across the street. The oldest pieces in the collection were left here, and we became the history branch. Our records, some of which are stored in these cabinets, date back to the 1830s. We have the oldest records in Bradley County here.
That's amazing.
We do not normally pull the originals, simply because they are that old. They have been microfilmed by the Tennessee State Library and Archives. We have an index so that you can do searches by name, and usually when patrons request this information, we pull the microfilm. We do have amazing digital microfilm readers that you can make copies off of. You can print, you can email it, you can download it to a drive, whatever works
Right.
best for you. But that's why these cabinets are here, to hold all these wonderful records that we have.
Wow.
The ceiling rose, the trim, everything in here is original. The light fixture is not. I wish it were. But it's
Trimming
not.
is just amazing.
Yes. This is the bathroom that Mr. Mill put in for his wife. This is the closest thing we have to an original light fixture. This is a dual light fixture. It's gas and electric. You can see the gas on this side.
And all the tile is original too?
The tile is original to 1907.
Wow.
This is one of the divots in the dining room. And then this little tiny closet, which I believe was originally a staircase that went to the second floor,
Here you guys.
is where Mr. Mill put the little tiny elevator for his wife. First elevator in Cleveland.
Move legacy for a second so I can get this door again. Another very, very tall door.
The
This
door is original.
door is amazing.
Beautiful leaded glass. 2 weeks ago, we lit up the front of the building.
Oh,
We
wow.
now have lights at night that shine on the front of the building and illuminate the building, and it just looks amazing at night. It looks so pretty.
Wow. That is so awesome. Now, what is this?
That's just the electrical panel.
Okay.
It's just a fuse box. Probably was put in sometime after 1907.
Oh, wow.
The
I know.
coffin corners at the top of the stairs, there's one here and there's one directly opposite it. They are in fact referred to as coffin corners.
Wow.
Because the stairs, the way they make the turn, it's necessary to have those there, so when you move large things, you've got some room to maneuver.
Which makes sense.
Yes. So when they had to add this railing, because of building codes, a little bit had to be shaved off of the sill,
Wow.
but it is original, and they maintained the design. So yeah.
So there you guys have it. One amazing house with an amazing story.
It is a great house. We have a lot of meetings here. It is a great place to study. We do genealogical research here, regional research. A lot of people come and want to do Cherokee research. Nothing in our collection circulates. It's all reference material.
Oh.
It's a great space.
There you guys go. Well, thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Anytime.
Uh-huh. Okay, you guys, we are now at the mausoleum in the church that was built for Nina. This gate is pretty awesome as well. Always like this gate. There's some of the church. And here is the beautiful mausoleum. Walk over here. Look at the front of it. There's the other gate. Is that not amazing, you guys? Such a beautiful building. The doors are shut. Normally the doors are open, where you can kind of see inside to come back. I'll show you the church too. The church is really a beautiful structure here. Windows are amazing. Another little gate. Another gate. It's just so beautiful. This place has always just grabbed my attention. I like the way it looks. Just everything about this church is just amazing. Never been inside of it. So once the doors are open, I will come back and get some video of the inside, the mausoleum. Hope everybody has a great day, and I hope you guys found this interesting.